Hey everybody, welcome to a brand new MMA Roasted Podcast. It's me, Adam Hunter. I'm here with CB Gold. He's back.
I'm back.
We also have Henry Corrales calling in a little bit, which is fresh off a huge win over Aaron Pico. I want to thank Speedweed. Listen, people, if you live in California and you smoke weed or partake in CBD or edibles or THC sex lube, whatever you partake in, okay, go to speedweed.com. They will deliver it to you. Right now, it's pouring rain right now. I mean, it's like the mass flood of 2019. And if I wanted weed right now, I would just call them. Why get into your car and risk it? I got a ticket the other day for I made a bad turn, okay, but they gave it to me for my not having a license plate on my thing, which was good, actually. I have a license plate. It's just not. Anyway, the point is that you leave your house, you can get tickets, you can get accidents, gas is expensive. Who knows what could happen? Your car can blow up, okay?
Craziest drivers are out right now.
Yes. So instead, go to Speedweed, stay home, put on Punisher or one of these Marvel things, relax, have a good time, SpongeBob, whatever you want to watch, and have it delivered to you. Mention Roasted, MMA Roasted, you get $10 off, $100, orders of $100 or more. So that's that. And life is good. I was at wrestling practice yesterday with the baby. See, it's hard, like, because it's like a news flash. I don't really get paid that much to coach wrestling. It's mostly volunteer. I get paid a little bit, but nothing that's like, I drive an hour to coach, sometimes 2 hours to get back. Pretty much I get paid what it would cost me in gas. But I just love doing it. I love the sport. I love what it's given to me. It keeps me young, especially in LA where like everything is like career. Look at me. Attention, failure. It's nice to actually just like get out and give back. And I enjoy coaching. It's a lot of fun. And but it's hard, especially with the baby. And a nanny is like 20 an hour for a good nanny. So I was doing that when going to practice. So I'm losing like $60 a day when I go coach. So I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to take the baby with me to practice. So I've been taking the baby.
Like she's having fun, man.
She loves it. It's hard for me because I can't really show any moves. But luckily, it was like the last week of the season, and I have two other coaches, so I'll just tell them what I want them to do. I'll be like, hey, show the cradle from the sit out, or show this. And, I've been coaching long enough where everyone knows what I'm doing. And a lot of times also telling the kid to do it is better because the kids, then they have to teach it, and that's where you get the most out of it. So, but my baby she started crying when practice was over. Like she just wants to be in there. I think she's mesmerized by like the commotion, the bodies, like just running into each other, like all that. And I think her eyes get up, she laughs the whole time.
I watched the videos, and it seems like she thoroughly enjoys it. So you might have a good sprawl daughter on your hands.
Maybe, and then I'm yelling at the kids, or not yelling at them, but like, come on, guys. And then they're looking at me, and then they're looking at my baby on my chest, making goofy faces and smiling, and then the kids start laughing. And then they come over, and they start making, I'm like, all right, kids. They keep coming over and start playing with her. I'm like, all right, thanks, guys. Go back to, like, oh, Gaga. I'm like, okay, get it out of your system. Go, but it's fun. It's like, it's very bonding, and she loves it. And look, I'm not gonna make my daughter wrestle. If she wants to wrestle, great. I think my wife's more into gymnastics and cheerleading, and that's for her. Soccer, as long as she's playing a sport, I'll be happy. If not playing a sport, she's more of a computer girl. As long as whatever she does, she gives it her best. Whatever you do.
Are you trying to keep her away from comedy though?
If she wants to be the best comic, I personally think kid comedy is rough because.
I just meant generally, like.
No, she wants to be an actress, or that, as long as she's having fun. But I just think that for the most part, kid comedy is hard. It's, aside from Tiffany Haddish, who started when she was 14, but she was a foster kid. So, yeah. But comedy usually comes from like pain and life experience and like failure. And I think a lot of times kids don't experience, or hopefully they don't have that when they're 12 and 13. A lot of times when I see kid comics, it's their parents writing their material.
I was going to say, I've seen the same thing. You see them on like AGT or like some of those shows, but they never truly make it like super far.
Well, they're not really learning the craft of comedy. They're learning, it's basically they're acting. And
there's more to it than making people laugh.
Well, there's more part of it. Yeah, right. I mean, so I've seen comics. I've seen parents tell their kid jokes, and they're going up there and they're telling jokes about immigration and stuff, and they're 11, and I'm like, come on, this is not. People are laughing, but I'm like, this is not happening. But then eventually, it's just not gonna. Anyway, so Yeah, but it's been fun. It's been fun, and like dude, as a kid, growing up, like my dream was to like, 'cause I was single for so long, and I would coach kids, and I'd see like the parents and stuff, and I'm always like, I'd love to have my kid come to matches and my wife. And then when I see my wife and my kid on the sidelines, I'm actually like super happy. It's like something that I've always wanted to have.
It's an awesome support system. It's the best kind of support system.
Yeah, and my wife was never she's not like a big MMA fan or wrestling fan, but she gets it. Like she comes to a couple practices and she's like, "When's the match? I want to watch the matches." Which is cool. I don't know, like if I don't know if I could be with somebody who was like as diehard of an MMA fan as I am, because I think we would just annoy each other to the point where like that's all I'd want to talk about. And then that person, I remember when I dated a girl who was in the UFC, and I asked her like 4,000 questions about fights, and she was like, "Get me out of here." So yeah, I think it's too much. It's like for me, dating a comic would be rough. Like if I dated a comic, because it's nice to have, like my wife, she does marketing for a hair company. She has her life. She goes to New York Fashion Week. She goes to Marketing Week. She has her thing, and I have my thing. And I think that's easier. Sometimes some people can do it. I've seen comedy it work, but for me, it's nice to have something else.
It's kind of like three different worlds in a way, because like you have your world, she has her world, and then there is that, collaborative world where you guys come together to a certain aspect. I mean, my girl's the same, I'm a diehard MMA fan, one of the biggest in the world. My girl didn't know a lot about MMA when we first met, didn't know a lot about, pro wrestling, got her into it, and now she likes to bust my balls, but like it's fun. Like she'll be like, what are the fights on Saturday? Crap, I have to leave. I have to go to my friend's house. And I'm like, I guess I'm watching alone then. And
my wife did she got upset when we were looking for wedding rings, and I was watching Colby Covington versus, I think it was Hot Sauce on my phone, and she was like, "What?" And I was like, "This is my friend." And she's like, "We're looking for wedding rings." I'm like, "Yeah, but losses stay on your record." I think she got mad about that.
Been there, not looking for rings, but been there.
And I could have been more sensitive to certain things. But it is what it is. You learn. It's right now we're going through a tough time because we have this thing called the snoo, where you strap the baby down and it rocks her to bed, but it only works for 6 months. And it monitors her sleep. So she's sleeping. So now she's outgrowing it. And now my wife has her in like a sleep suit, which is like a fat suit. And so I come home and I went to put her in, and like it looks like that Kanye that like the Kanye little pump, those suits they wore for their music video.
I don't.
Okay, well. I'm like, can we just not let's just have have her in a fucking crib.
Like a sumo suit or something?
She has her in a sumo suit. And she's like, well, you're not home. See, that's the biggest problem that I have is I'm not there all the time because I make a living on the road. So I'm on the road, and then my wife's doing shit, then sometimes my opinion is, well, I'm not there. So, and that's even with the dog. The dog drives my wife crazy. He still growls at her in the bed. And like, I'll get off stage, made fucking 300 people laugh, standing ovation. I'm feeling like I feel like $1 million. I look at my phone, your dog shit on the bed, and then I'm like, okay, I want to get rid of this dog.
To the real
I'm
world.
like, we're not getting rid of the dog. The dog goes, I go. Well, the dog came with me. It was just, so then now we're fighting. It's just, but I guess couples have this problems, but it is sometimes it could be hard when I'm not home, because then like, I'm like, babe, I don't think she should be in a fat suit when she sleeps, but you're not home to put her to bed. Okay, that's true. I guess she's in a fucking fat suit then. But it is what it is. And then last night was funny because like we hadn't had sex like a week or something, and I get in bed and she's like, anal, and I was like, really, anal? And she goes, yeah, turn over. I'm like, oh, you're funny. You're fucking. I'm like, really, really hilarious. Anal turnover. And she said that like 8 times. I've never had anal sex with my wife. Have you had anal sex with your girl? You have? Yeah, it's not really something. I don't know. It's just not my thing.
I did not confirm or deny that question for everyone listening.
I have a friend who's like married to like a celebrity, and he's a celebrity, and he told me his wife just loves anal sex. And every time I meet her, that's all I think of. Like every time I'm like, hi, how's it going? I just think of her getting fucked in the ass all day, And she's got a little ass too. So that's just, I don't know. It's just not really, It's just not really my thing. The vagina just feels so good. I think anal needs prep. You can't just go right for it. I feel like.
Yeah. I mean, you can't just say, okay, this is it. And then just.
But even like porn stars, like they won't eat for a day when they have anal, or like they'll they'll fast. They'll make sure that their butt's very cleansed. They don't just go right to it. Female porn stars.
Leaving Taco Bell and just showing up on set.
Yeah, is that really what you want to do?
No.
Yeah, exactly. I've only done anal like twice in my life, but one was like by accident. Anyway, here we are. Let's talk about some of the UFC. And then so we have our big tournament this week. I'm super excited about that. Oh, great, baby's crying. I was motivating the kids like, hey guys, let's give it our best, leave it all on the mat. Don't throw your headgear, because last time the kid from Chechnya won, threw his headgear and we got a point taken off. And then the other guy they go, yeah, don't yell at the ref either, to me, because
I thought that was like the giant nightmare of a day with the referees.
Yeah, well, that was, but it was funny because we would have won the tournament. I did yell at the ref. The ref made a terrible call. The kid kept grabbing my kid's headgear over and over and over and over again, and he called my kid for stalling with 20 seconds left, and then with 1 second left gave him 2 stalling points, which is really with a 1 second left. And then my kid was looking at the clock. That was his mistake. But just because you look at the clock does not mean you're stalling. But this ref was...
Fighters look at the clock all the time to make sure how much time they have to...
Yeah, but this ref was an idiot. So I'm going to tell the kids don't look at the clock also. But in my defense... And so I was telling the kids... I remember last year after the tournament, I'm like, listen, guys, I lost my cool. I apologize. And the kids are like, we would have done the same for you, coach. And then I was like, super
weren't
cute.
there the parents backing you up?
Yeah, the parents were like, yeah, coach.
And stuff? Yeah, you know what?
So
there's a lot of shitty refs lately.
Yeah. Yeah, right.
In all sports.
So what do you think of WrestleMania, by the way?
Royal Rumble?
A Royal Rumble, yeah.
Not impressed.
Why?
I just didn't think it was good. I thought both Rumbles were very, very predictable. I picked who was going to win, even though the female that won the Women's Royal Rumble was not even on the list. She just kind of scapegoated her way in at the last minute. The rest of the matches were kind of underwhelming, and
is Ronda leaving?
I was just about to say, I really want Ronda to lose, but it looks like she's leaving after WrestleMania.
To have babies?
That's what I'm hearing. Some people are perpetuating this rumor that she's going back to the UFC, and no, there's no way.
They would take her back in a heartbeat.
They would take her back, but she won't do well, I don't think. Upper echelon competition. But yeah, supposedly she's leaving. Supposedly she wants to have kids. I just want to see her lose beforehand. But yeah, the Royal Rumble was underwhelming. We're leading into WrestleMania. We're on the road to WrestleMania. And, it's interesting because this is the time of year, the last 3 months of the WWE's year, where they try to build the best product, build the best matches, do the biggest show, because WrestleMania is a 9-hour extravaganza. I think it's the first weekend of April. And they're just planning a lot of different things and different matches. And just the last few years, with the PG era and everything that's going on, it's just been underwhelming. And
Now what did you think of the guy from Bellator who came over?
What do you mean?
The Jack Swagger.
I think he looked good. There's a lot of people, he fought a can. They paid the guy to not throw strikes or lose or whatever. Swagger has a great pedigree for wrestling. He's been training jiu-jitsu. He's been training fighting for a while.
I didn't realize he beat Cain Velasquez in college wrestling.
I also didn't know that. That's a pretty big accomplishment.
And he was an All-American college wrestler. I didn't know that either. I mean,
is that why they called him the All-American American?
Yeah, to be an All-American Division I, I don't think people realize how hard that is. That may be one of the hardest things to do in the world, is to be top 8 in the country, Division I.
Because there's thousands and thousands of wrestlers in the country.
We're talking about every state champion. There are so many people that there was a kid, Todd Beckerman, my year, who was a 4-time national champion in high school. I think he was an All-American once. I think he was a 1-time All-American. It's just a matter of it's just fucking hard. It really, college wrestling, it really is the major leagues of wrestling. It's like how many great guys? There are plenty of great high school baseball players, but how many make the pros? Not many. And that's really what college.
At the same time, there's also more positions in those other teams.
Yeah. Even that, it's just really hard to be. I mean, you have to be a really good wrestler to be top 8 in the country.
Incredibly dedicated for as much as you've talked about dropping weight.
Oh yeah, I mean, like,
meets every week.
Yeah, it's just a different level. So Jack Swagger, I'm a fan. I'm a fan of him. I want to see it, and I'm a fan of the Bellator for not throwing him in against somebody that was just going to crush him, or somebody that would have been hard for him, like too hard for him. It was only his first fight. Like, before you put him against Matt Mitrione or something, like let's give him 3, 4, 5 fights, but don't put him on the main card. I understand why you have to, because they paid him $50,000 for his pro debut.
They paid him more than that.
They did.
I think I saw. They paid him.
I think I saw 50, but maybe he got sponsors and everything else. But so if you're gonna give a guy $50,000, then he's got to be on the main card. But at the same time, it wouldn't hurt him to do, it wouldn't have hurt him to try to go through the LFA first, or Titan first, or regional, by, going right to Bellator. The problem is it's only going to be 2 or 3 fights before he gets a real challenge. And he is 35 years old, 36. He's up there.
He had a better debut than CM Punk.
Oh, I mean, that was night and day. I
know. And it was, Swagger was signed, I'd say, about a year ago or so, and made its debut inside a year and looked good at it.
Yeah.
People hating on him too much. And I'm like, this was his first fight. Yeah. Did they give him a guy that's, not super amazing or not a big name? Yes. But as you said, you're not going to throw him in there with Vitaly Minakov on his first fight, or, Matt Mitrione or Roy Nelson. But he looked good. Give the guy some credit, other than pro wrestling.
I almost think he might beat Roy Nelson at this point.
That's also, yeah.
I hate to
possible.
say it. I don't know. Roy might get up for that fight and knock him out, though.
Well, Roy's got Crow Cop in a few weeks.
In what? In
Bellator.
Crow Cop's back in Bellator?
I'm pretty sure it was Big Country and Crow Cop coming up.
Wow.
It's that two-night event, the 215, 216.
Well, Crow Cop in Bellator might be different than Crow Cop in Ryzen, because Crow Cop in Ryzen looks like he's unbeatable because of the testing. Crow Cop in Bellator, maybe he's not going to be. I mean, he was underwhelming in the UFC, Crow Cop, because I think the strict testing. But I think he's one of these guys. Like, I think Vitor Belfort right now, if he goes to Ryzen, will be the champion again, if he gets to use his secret sauce. Now, let's talk about the biggest feud right now in MMA. Okay, Artem Lobov versus Ben Askren are feuding on Twitter. Did you see what's going on?
Yeah, I saw a little of it. I'm a little surprised that UFC let the GOAT go, but
I don't understand. I guess it's the GOAT. It's funny, but now everyone's in on it. It's just not as funny.
It's not as funny anymore. It's just this ridiculous thing that went around.
And he is a good fighter. He happens to be a good fighter. He just wouldn't have got him being. If he wasn't Conor McGregor's best friend, people wouldn't be giving him so much shit. It's the fact that people think that McGregor just,
No, and he made his own stand of I am the Russian Hammer, and I am this, and choo-choo, motherfucker, and, that kind of shit. And he's like, I fought the top competition. And I'm like, yeah, in the UFC, you fought a lot of big names, but all your fight wins were decision.
And the only guy he beat was Diaz's friend.
Vila?
Yeah.
Did he beat Ishihara, too?
Did he beat Ishihara?
I'm pretty sure he did.
But, okay, so...
He had a few wins, but it wasn't when he fought the Cub Swansons and those kind of guys. I mean, it was a night and day
touchy-feely
of where he should and shouldn't be.
So according to Twitter, he says, "Relax there, Ben. I went through the true fighter's road, put the best at every turn. It came up short. I gave it my all." But he says, "Keep that belt warm for me, Ben. I'll be back for it after I take over boxing." So he's not taking over boxing. His arms are not, I think, long enough to take over boxing.
He wants to go boxing, kickboxing. He's called out a couple bare-knuckle guys. A couple bare-knuckle guys have called him out. Isaac Valley Flag is one of them.
Oh, Isaac would kill him, I think.
I think that'd be a really good bare-knuckle fight. There was another dude that called him out, and it was this no-name guy.
And then Rowdy Beck called him out.
Rowdy Beck called him out, was like, you don't even fight bare knuckle. Who the fuck are you?
Well, I guess he does fight bare knuckle, but he pads his knuckles or something.
I honestly don't know, but seeing Rowdy Beck call him out, I was like, all right, this is pretty awesome.
I like Rowdy Beck.
I love her. I love her. She's amazing.
So, Artem, you literally stink at fighting. As Askren said, your record is 13-15. I'm glad you live in the gimmick because we're all getting a good laugh out of it. Yeah, and he goes, mate, you were hiding in Asia fighting retired Nike factory workers. Win a real fight, then talk pube head. So I don't know. Artem might have won that round. It might be the first round he won in 6 years, but you think maybe he won that round? I mean, you were fighting retired Nike factory workers? That was a good line.
I mean, that was the only downside of Ben being in ONE FC. I know he made a lot of money and looked really good, but you know, there's only a few big names in each division in that company. Whereas coming to the UFC, your debut's against Robbie fucking Lawler.
You know, actually, there's a video of him beating Robbie Lawler in college wrestling, which I didn't even know that happened. No, I mean, I forgot that Lawler wrestled in college. I knew he was a really good high school wrestler.
I think Ben Askren wins the belt inside of 2 years.
You think so?
Yeah.
Which belt?
Whichever one.
He's not going to fight Woodley.
I know he will. Yeah, but in my opinion, Woodley doesn't win at 235, so.
Against Usman, really?
Yeah, I
don't know,
this is my
man.
bias. This is my bias, but I think Kamaru presents an incredible challenge to Tyron, and I think he can make it a very long night for him. But you know, by the time Askren gets to number 1, will Woodley be the champ anymore?
Well, the thing is
and it depends on the division.
But can Kamaru take a punch? We've never seen him get punched clean.
No.
And Woodley hits so hard.
And you also see a beef with Askren and Kelvin Gastelum now for middleweight.
Yeah.
So it really depends on where Askren lands. If he's going to pull the DC thing where he goes to 205 because Kane was the champ at the time, you know, then Askren goes to 185. I mean, I think he tears it up at either. He also wants a 165 division and calls out Khabib. But Khabib's got his own problems right now.
Well, Kelvin's got to beat
Whitaker,
and
that is a hell of a fight.
Yeah, that's going to be tough. I think Kelvin can win that fight.
I definitely think
Kelvin can win. I think he will win, but that's going to be hard. But that's you know.
You got Kelvin winning the belt that night?
I do. I have Kelvin Gastelum beating Robert Whitaker that night.
I don't know who to pick. I love that fight though.
Well, what scares me was the when you look at how big Weidman looked against Kelvin, you saw a guy that is at 185 versus a guy that is fighting at 185. You know, like a Kelvin should not be at 185. He could be 170. In fact, according to Dolce, he could be at 155. But
with how many less limbs?
But also Woodley. I mean, but Weidman has amazing wrestling. I mean, he's a 4-time All-American. Whereas I've never even seen Whitaker go to the ground. He
doesn't shoot for takedowns. That's for sure.
I mean, he's got a good takedown defense, but all his wins are standing. So if he doesn't have that advantage. You know, I mean, but Kelvin also put Weidman on his ass. I mean, he knocked him down and almost knocked him out. So if Kelvin's got really, really good boxing and great grappling and great everything, it's just a matter of is he going to be too big for him? But didn't he all start at 170?
Who, Whitaker?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he won Ultimate Fighter at 170, and I was actually just looking up his record. Other than the TKO loss to Stephen Thompson, his only other loss was a split decision to Court McGee, which, if I remember correctly, he got wrestled a little bit because Court's a wrestler.
Yeah.
Otherwise, he does not go to the ground.
But he's also fought mostly all strikers.
Romero, Jacare, Derek Brunson.
Oh, yeah, maybe not.
All kind of.
Yeah, but Brunson fought like an idiot in that fight.
Brunson went for haymakers, and
it was like a world star fight in that one.
It was kind of. I don't want to say embarrassing, but it was kind of embarrassing.
And then Jacare got knocked out by him, right? Romero doesn't always use his wrestling. He's very slow in wrestling. He just stands there and like waits for you to fuck up, kind of. So I mean, Romero is technically probably the best wrestler in MMA. He's got 2 wins over Cale Sanderson, who is Olympic gold medalist, who's amazing. But he doesn't use his wrestling at all times. In fact, if you didn't know that, you would almost not even think that Romero's a wrestler.
He will be using his wrestling in his next fight, though.
Romero?
Yeah.
Against?
Paulo Costa.
Ooh.
Bohachina.
Yeah.
I don't think he wants to stand with that gigantic fucking brick house.
And it's also like, when is he going to finally get old overnight? Because that guy, we don't even know how old he really is.
He's probably like 78.
He seriously might be like 80 years old. He's one of those Cubans that like...
Benjamin Button syndrome or something.
But you don't know. Like those Cuban baseball players, the Cuban boxers, like they say they're a certain age, but we don't know how old they really are. So anyway, so that was one feud, the Askren. Now, Cowboy versus Conor. Is that going to happen? You have the inside scoop, CB.
I hope so. Both have agreed to it. Both have agreed to it. You know, Cowboy was saying, I'll drink proper whiskey at the press conference, and, you know, I'll bring the Budweiser, you bring the whiskey, and, you know, I know that people were talking about Conor and Poirier again, but Poirier says, I want a title shot unless you want to renegotiate my deal. I don't think he's really mad at the UFC right now.
Yeah, but wouldn't Poirier make more money against Conor than anybody else?
Poirier would definitely make a lot of money there, but the difference is Poirier for a title shot is definitely possible, but this Khabib tie-up 9-month thing is fucking it up.
But aren't 3 already served?
If he does the PSA against anti-bullying, which I can't even imagine how amazing that's going to be.
That should be
the most viral video. This might be something that MMA awards.
Yeah. I mean, I think the Bear should be in it, right? Shouldn't the Bear be in the bullying ad?
Even like the Bear saying, like, I didn't even bully Khabib.
Like, well, somebody said that he was like bullying a homeless guy back in the day, like
paying them, to like. I don't remember.
So it might be funny to him, like, to watch it and be like, that was me when I bullied people, and now like he's nice to homeless people. This is me now.
Maybe because there was a lot of outrage over that, you know, the whole homeless video thing going on. But he said he won't. Khabib said he's tying up his belt until November because he won't fight before his teammates' suspensions are done. So I think at 55 right now, Conor and Cerrone is the biggest fight you can make, because for a guy like Poirier or a guy like Ferguson to fight each other, one of them's going to lose, one of them's going to lose their shot. Will they wait?
That's not for an interim belt, would it be? It shouldn't be.
If they agree on it, I've said it on Twitter, I would not put it past the UFC to make an interim, just because they know that Khabib's going to tie it up. But the only positive to it is, which I didn't honestly expect, was Dana went on record yesterday saying that I can't even believe that they fined him so much and did what they did to the Athletic Commission did to Khabib, and he didn't agree with it, but he just said, you know, it is what it is. I have to deal with it. I wouldn't be shocked if there's an interim, but one of those guys, if they fight each other, is going to lose their spot. And that's the fucked up part of it, because the fans have been clamoring for 3 or 4 years now for Khabib and Ferguson. That's what everybody wants to see. You need to figure out who's the top guy. And I honestly think Ferguson has a way better chance against Khabib than Poirier does. But then there's the rumors of Conor and Khabib again, just because it's a money fight and the brawl afterwards and all that bullshit. So I don't know where the fuck 155's going.
Now what have you heard about the allegation with Conor, with the rape? Have you heard anything about that?
I honestly haven't researched it enough to really give a shit, because I knew that if it was something that was really out there, like if it was something that had like concrete information, anything, it would have been all over my Twitter, all over all the websites. You know, I haven't seen shit, but they tried to do the same thing about that he cheated with Rita Ora a couple years ago, and he was just, you know, having a night.
This is a lot different.
No, I understand that, but he also just had, you know, his other kid, and I'm not defending it because, once again, I don't know.
You don't know. I just thought maybe you knew something.
But if it's out, if it was more legitimate, it would be more out there, because the guy is the biggest name in the sport.
Now, who do you think wins though, Conor or Cowboy?
I think Conor. Cowboy's a slow starter. Cutting down to 155 again.
He looked great last time, 55.
He did.
But he got rocked early.
Fuck around, though.
Who?
Conor don't fuck around, though. And Conor don't hit like Alex Hernandez. Conor hits you. You've been saying it for years. The guy is one of the hardest hitting guys in the UFC, if not MMA.
You're right.
I think he can ice out Cowboy early. I think he has to. Otherwise, he's going to have to weather those kicks.
I just worry that sometimes Cowboy in huge fights doesn't fight the way he does in the
biggest stage. The main event is,
I mean, you look at like
where he chokes.
I like the Nate Diaz fight, the RDA fight, the Anthony Pettis fight. I mean, those are 3 fights that like the huge lights on him, and he didn't perform the way he does when he fights Mike Perry or this. But this new baby, Cowboy Cerrone, is unstoppable.
It's a fire under
and
his
leaving
ass.
Jackson's gym might have been the best thing for his career.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, he just looks like a different fighter.
Well, the bad motherfucker ranch is where to train.
I mean, yeah, he looks better than maybe, normally I wouldn't say, taking DMT and going on weird acid trips is a good thing for your fighting, but the proof is in the pudding. I mean, maybe it's also just the way the lifestyle. I mean, kids do change the way you think about things.
I was going to say, it's kind of gone both ways. I remember when Dodson was going to fight Demetrius the second time, and as soon as he got off the plane, his wife left him a voicemail. The baby's coming. He had to go back.
Yeah.
I'm like, is it going to light a fire under his ass, or is it going to put him in a position where, he's more worried about his kid and newborn and whatnot? And unfortunately, he didn't do as well. But Cowboy, this kid has legitimately changed his entire way of thinking.
Yes, but I do have to remember that Mike Perry and Alex Hernandez, and Hernandez might be a great fighter one day. I mean, he's already a great fighter. He might be a top-tier fighter one day. But right now, Mike Perry, if he didn't have the eyebrow tattoos and the shtick and the swag, people would not be talking about him or be excited about him. It's the whole image. And Alex Hernandez was a guy who looked great, but knocked out Beneil Dariush on 3-day notice and then won his next fight. But that's not Conor McGregor. That's not the same threat.
It's different.
So
the one thing I did see about Cowboy in the last two is he's quickened his pace in the first round. Usually he tests his range, kind of sees where he can go in the first. This one, he came out, even in the Mike Perry, you saw it in his face. You saw it when he got him down on the ground. You saw it on the feet. I mean, he was looking around like, I'm going to kill
Yeah,
this
but he got rocked in that Hernandez fight.
Yeah, definitely. But yes, Conor is a completely different animal.
Right. Now, I know you're a big UFC belt fan. You had the MMA Roasted belt.
Go Power Rangers.
Well, I didn't really care. I'm not a big jewelry guy. People were making a huge deal about it, and I'm like, I think having a belt is more about just having the belt than the actual belt itself. I remember Tanya Evinger had her Invicta belt like in her truck, in the back of her truck, and it was like
it was like my second podcast with you guys.
Yeah,
she had it with her.
But it was just a matter of her being champ, than the actual belt. People were like, but when I did see the belts next to each other, I'm like, oh, that first belt's a lot better.
The first belt's a lot better. I think there's a couple things. One was very funny. I saw a lot of people complaining on Twitter of like, it looks like the Power Rangers morph thing, and it's stupid and this and that. And somebody replied to one of them, was like, "Don't worry, you'll never win one anyway."
Oh, that's funny.
The fact that they're selling them for like $900 in the UFC store is a little ridiculous.
Really?
Yeah. Because you can get the old belt for $300 like that.
Yeah.
But the other thing that I did notice, and they might have kind of taken a page from the WWE on this one.
Yep.
Is they made it so there's like side plates and gems and stuff that you can flip out and add to. So as you get, I think the rule is now is, how every time they defended a title successfully, they got another belt to keep.
Yeah.
That's why DJ has like 50. I don't think they're doing that anymore. I think what they're going to do is they're going to add new gems of like, this is how many title defenses you have. And then it just like adds to, that whole thing. Because I think this one costs a hell of a lot more than the last one in terms of like what the UFC pays for it, because theirs is real, of course. But I don't hate it. I love the old belt. I really love the old school Ultimate belt that had the actual logo on it.
Yeah, that was the best belt.
Yeah, it was one of the coolest ones. I think it was the best one.
You're right. I didn't even think about that one.
Other than the WEC one, I loved the WEC one. But you know what? People will get used to the new belt. People fear change. So that's like one of the biggest issues. But I think it's a cool design. I think it looks kind of funny right now because we're not used to it yet. And the only one that has one is Cejudo.
Right. So, by the way, I think that TJ should get also a rematch at 135 against Cejudo. And they were talking about not giving Cyborg a rematch. And I'm like, what is that? Cyborg defended her belt like, 85 fucking times?
She hadn't lost in...
Dominated
since
everybody.
Her first fight ever.
I mean, what are we talking? I mean, she got hit with a punch. It wasn't like she got, look, when somebody goes out there and they get destroyed for 5 rounds, I could say, what? They didn't win 1 minute of the round. It just got beat up to the point where, like, I don't know, maybe like BJ Penn versus, or like the rematch of like, it wasn't 4 rounds, but the rematch of GSP versus Matt Serra. It's something where it's just a one-sided beatdown. Yeah. There are certain fights like that where, Cain Velasquez used to do that to, like, Cain Velasquez versus Junior Dos Santos, the second and third one, where it was just, that was rough. you could say that doesn't. But when you get I almost think that when you get knocked out with a punch early in a fight, the rematch is almost more warranted than just getting completely outclassed and destroyed, because a punch can change a fight, which is why I think the Stipe Miocic Daniel Cormier rematch is completely warranted. And people are like, well, it doesn't happen in the past. It has happened.
Joanna Rose,
right?
Joanna got shellacked.
GSP versus Sarah. I think that GSP fought a couple other guys. There were a couple. I went through it, and there was a couple
matches. Yeah, look at TJ and Cody.
Another one. Yes, right. And it happens all the time. And I could see if the heavyweight division was stacked, where you're like, no, this guy's 10-0, and this guy's 16-0. There's
nobody fucking else at 45.
They're just fucking over Stipe Miocic, and everyone says
they're fucking over Cyborg too.
And people keep saying, well, DC deserves a big payday for Brock Lesnar.
Are we gonna wait forever for Brock though? Because it doesn't look like he's coming.
And he's 40-something years old, and he wasn't that good 3 years. I mean, he beat Mark Hunt.
Tell he's off roids now because I watch WWE every week, and he's getting small.
And are we not forgetting the beatdown he got against Cain Velasquez and Overeem? We're all just gonna.
He wasn't the champ, but yeah, the Cain one.
I mean, we're just gonna forget about that. The fact that he got punched, started breakdancing. I mean, look, I'm a big Brock Lesnar fan, but let's not confuse the Brock Lesnar before diverticulitis and the Brock Lesnar after were two different Brock Lesnars. And he got paparoids every single time. Yeah. To the point where Mark Hunt sued the UFC because of it, the way that he was treated. So why are we rewarding that kind of behavior? And Stipe Miocic is a great guy, and everyone, well, DC deserves a good payday. Well, the other guy's a fucking firefighter and an EMT.
If he wants a good payday, he should have to fulfill the requirement of an immediate rematch for the title. And if he beats Stipe the second time and he wasn't fucking retiring in a month, then you get your big payday. But when you put a date on the end of your career, you're only going to take what's going to bring you the biggest opportunity.
And what is this guy, homeless? He's the world champion. He's getting paid by Fox. He's got commercials. He didn't make money.
DC was on ridiculousness last week.
He didn't make money. Well, that pays $8, but he doesn't get paid in the John Jones fights that he had. I mean, how? When are we looking out for the guy could retire many times over right now, okay? And I think, and his kids, I'm sure he could pay for his kids' college and everything else. I don't know his economics, but I'm pretty sure he's doing.
He also doesn't live a lavish lifestyle.
Yeah,
he said it. He's not living in $50 million mansions. Connor's buying a hotel in Ireland for $12 million, but DC's not doing that. There's a lot of guys that make.
Enough of this. Well, he deserves a good. These guys are homeless. I deserve to not spend $75 of my fucking hard-earned money to watch a guy fight Brock Lesnar when he's not even ranked in the top 20 right now.
And I hate to say it, but even if Brock beat him, he's going to test positive again. And DC's talking about, I don't want to fight Jones because he tested positive. Brock fails every fight.
Right.
I love Brock Lesnar. I'm one of Brock's biggest fans, but the guy can't keep it together. He can't take a fight, and he doesn't like getting punched in the face.
No, so he deserves one. Cyborg definitely deserves one.
My biggest issue with that is Nunes. Nunes talking about I'm done with 145. It pissed me off to not be able to fit in my jeans. And then Cyborg, you want a rematch? I need to train for 2 years for that rematch. Cyborg wants to be done too. She wants to be done this year.
And she was the most dominant female in the history of the sport,
except for her first ever pro fight, and that was 13 fucking years ago. Or more.
Yeah.
The girl deserves a rematch. Clarissa Shields said it to her in the backstage after the fight. Said, I love you, Cyborg. You're one of my best friends, but you shouldn't have brawled with her. But there's no reason you shouldn't get a rematch.
Yeah, that, and then also, so TJ Dillashaw, enough with the. I don't understand. Maybe he doesn't like eating. Maybe he wants to audition to play in that the next thing where what was it? The guy who went
the machinist.
The machinist, yeah, the machinist, yeah.
I know what you were talking about with 4 words.
Yeah, right, exactly. Christian Bale. I don't know what the fuck he's thinking, but he should fight at 135 because it seems like they're getting rid of the 25 division now, right?
Yeah,
or they have got rid of it. I mean,
whole week it was are you keeping it? Are you keeping it? What if Cejudo wins? Are you keeping it? No comment. And then Dana just freaks out and starts bitching about Ariel Helwani. That was hilarious.
And by the way, the monkey god is like fighting on some local card now, and that guy is one of the like
Jared Brooks?
Yeah, a lot of those guys. You go on his Instagram. I'm like, look, I'm happy he's got a fight. He's got money coming in and whatever it is. But man, he's one of the top guys in the world. He could have easily been undefeated. He's a great fighter. He got screwed over.
10.
Who?
Ben Nguyen.
Oh yeah, another guy.
Did you see who he's got announced for last night?
What?
Horiguchi and Rizin.
Ooh.
I hate to say it, and I put this on Twitter, but Ben 10 is going to get fucking destroyed.
Dude, I could not believe Horiguchi beat Caldwell. I know that like if the fight would have been in the cage, people say it would have been different because of the ring and yada yada.
There's a rematch coming
but
in Bellator.
Man, that was.
I was shocked, but Caldwell's biggest issue in his losses was the guillotine.
The guillotine and also fading in the third.
Yeah, Time Anglo got him.
And he seemed like it didn't seem like it was the same fighter that usually. He came out, he was like laughing, and I don't know. He didn't seem like he took it seriously, but yeah, something was off with Caldwell that night. Yeah.
Horiguchi, I mean, he has never looked better, man. There's people saying that he would beat Demetrius right now. And, you know, it'd be interesting to see because I know Demetrius is going to get a few guys coming up that nobody's heard of in 1FC, and they're doing that whole thing. So, and that event I think is coming up because they're doing a huge worldwide media tour. DJ and Eddie Alvarez are coming to LA and Vegas to do open workouts and media days for what the 1FC events coming up. So
let's talk about my friend Colby Covington. Look,
what the hell is going on with
I
him?
love Colby Covington. Like Colby Covington is he's a friend of mine. He's a pretty good friend. Came to my show. We talk sometimes. I don't know what he's doing right now because Colby, look, even if he did get passed over, right? He got passed over. Come on, man. You're one of the best in the world. You're right up there. And I got to think that you're next. You're next in line. You're
there.
I mean, going after the UFC, calling it a circus, saying Dana White has floppy tits or whatever he's saying on Instagram.
Mark Hunt approach.
But when has that ever worked for a fighter?
It doesn't.
Man, come on. Because he's so good. And I get it.
But he's not the only one doing it right now. Dustin Poirier is doing the same exact thing right now.
Really?
He's talking mad shit. He said, the UFC's bullshit. This is...
So, okay, here's some cliff notes about the interview he did. Doesn't mind taking the UFC to court to get released. Daring the UFC to show their balls. That's... come on. I mean, even if they release him, I mean, maybe the PFL will pick him up. And he could win the $1 million.
I don't think they have any more money.
No, they do. They got a lot.
I know.
Yeah, they do. But I mean, he'd be good in that tournament because he has a good style for that.
Yeah.
But he says that Ali Abdelaziz lied under oath for the UFC in court. I don't know if that's true.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Colby has paid out of his pocket to visit the troops. Dana's mad because he still want to date his side chicks. John Jones is the biggest fuck up. Colby wants to do WWE no matter what happens. He's going forward to MMA. And he says that Dana and the UFC are a bunch of bitch-ass snowflakes with no balls running a circus shit show. So, I don't know, man. I mean, dude, you're still employed by them. They're the ones who are giving you fights. They can make you, you're the one fighting, and I get it. You're the talent. But people are still going to watch the UFC without Colby Covington.
Yeah.
The show will go on. And that's the sad part for him. And he has to realize that because I love Colby Covington. I love watching him fight. He's a friend of mine. I want to see him in there against Woodley. I want to see him in there against Usman.
And his shtick now is better than ever.
His shtick of with the naked girls on Instagram
and all that stuff. I mean, it's hilarious.
He's funny.
Dude.
He's a funny dude. He's funny and he's talented.
He's cornered a really good gimmick for himself.
And he's a big Trump guy. He's at the White House.
Yep.
But come on, man. Fighting with Dana has never worked for anybody. I mean, think about the guys who did it. Tito did it. Maybe you could say, but
It didn't work.
Ben Askren, finally, he's 37 now. He's in the and all he did was say he was he's a fat bald guy or something. It wasn't even like he did this whole.
He's not walking out with a shirt that says "Dana's my bitch."
Yeah,
Tito did.
Yeah.
But Verdum's doing the same shit right now too. Verdum, Poirier, Colby. Verdum wants out. He's got
But didn't he test positive a couple times too?
Yeah, well, he's out on suspension, but he wants out of the UFC completely. And the only.
I don't know. I think once you test positive, you're.
You're not. I mean, but Josh Barnett did the same thing. He tested. They, pulled him from everything, and then he was like, "Fuck it, dude. I want out." Frank Mir as well. You know, a lot of those guys, they get fed up, but it's just not the right way to do it when they're.
I still feel like in a way though the UFC and Dana like Colby for some reason, because Dana did say in interviews like he'll get the next shot after Usman Woodley.
Yeah, but I heard there's like some intricacies behind it and like something that had to do with like he wasn't ready or his thumb wasn't ready and he needed it. And Dana overreacts to a lot of things and exaggerates and lies a lot too. But you know, it's just an unfortunate situation.
Does he lie? I mean, what does he lie? He doesn't lie. What does he lie about?
Okay, I won't say lie. He fibs a little bit. Like he'll say, you know, I'm not making this fight, and then a week later he's like, guess what? Big announcement. Like that kind of thing. So it's like you never really know what to believe. I should rephrase and not call him a liar, but he kind of fibs a little bit to kind of keep the scoop.
I don't know. I think he does a great job with the UFC. But I
heard that Colby had his own issues and he wasn't ready to fight at this point. So Dana said, you know what? Then we're moving Usman up. And I think that's, you know, the right move instead of holding up the division, because any of these divisions that get log jammed and they get screwed up in that way, it's annoying to the fans. Like, we want to see the champs defend. We want to see these title fights. We don't want 75 events on ESPN Plus where there's no titles being.
I'm just happy that Usman's fighting him and not like they brought in some. Like, that's my biggest gripe with the sport right now, is that they're not the number one guys, number two guys aren't, like, they're bringing in people that like the big money fights they're bringing in. Because
or they're letting
I understand that, like boxing did that for a while. Boxing would just all of a sudden, you know, make, you know, Hagler, Hearn, you know, whatever it was, these big money fights sometimes where the guy wasn't ranked top 1, 2, or 3, but it was I didn't
mean like Hendo versus Bisping the second time.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, like Hendo Bisping the second time is a perfect example. I like
10 shouldn't be up.
I like Anthony Smith, John Jones. I don't care if Anthony Smith has 10,000 Twitter followers, whatever he has.
I love that fight.
I like the number one guy, regardless of how of their followers, and I think that's in the long run better for the sport, versus like quick money grabs. And I understand the philosophy. I think Bellator kind of does that, where they go, well, you know, look, we'll put some shiny objects up there. People will get everyone's attention, and then we'll throw some good guys on the undercard or whatever, and then you'll stay and watch for those guys.
Well, that was one of my biggest gripes with DC was he won the light heavyweight title or whatever, or he won the heavyweight title, and he had both, and he goes, yeah, I'm going to defend my 205 title against Shogun. I'm like, nobody even knows who the fuck Shogun is anymore. He's been knocked out.
Wait, you said that recently?
Yeah.
When?
It was a few months ago. He wanted to defend the 205 title before he retired, and he was calling out Shogun for the title defense. Shogun doesn't know where he is right now.
That's really weird.
To fight for the title.
Was this after Anthony Smith knocked out Shogun or before?
I don't know the timeline, but it was pretty recently. I think it was right after DC won the title from Stipe. He had both, and he said, if I do defend the 205 title, I want to defend it against Shogun. And I'm like, Shogun's like number between 7 and 10 or something right now, and like.
What do you think of Cody Garbrandt's next fight?
Pedro Munoz?
Yeah.
I think he might have a tough time.
Oof.
If Pedro gets him to the ground, or Cody doesn't go for a lot of takedowns, but if Cody does go for a sloppy takedown, or if it gets to the ground, Pedro's a hell of a black belt. Very, very talented black belt. I don't know. I could honestly see it going either way. I could see Cody knocking Pedro's head off. I could see Pedro submitting Cody.
It's crazy. Cody's one of those guys that everyone jumped on the train and then everyone jumped off the train. Because same with like Ngannou. I can't wait for Ngannou Kane. That should be an interesting fight. I don't know. I think if Ngannou touches him, it's over. Because
plus Kane hasn't fought in 3 years.
But then again, Kane's wrestling and he's training with DC every day. I mean, shit.
Well, my thing with Garbrandt was, and this has happened with a few champs, they're humble, they're great people, they're like, you know, amazing fighters. They get that belt and their personality switches a little bit.
Yeah.
The biggest culprit, in my opinion, was Carla Esparza when she won the strawweight title.
Really?
Before that, absolute sweetheart, no issues. Like, Carla was the shit. She won the title, and it was like, didn't want to be bothered by anybody, thought greatest thing since sliced bread, and you know, it was tough to watch.
I don't know. I kind of feel like with her though is that she's a pretty shy person in general.
But then you see, but the problem is that you see their downfall after, like when they lose the belt, and then it changes things again. It kind of reverts back of like, you know, there's been people that have even noticed like, yeah, you know, I lost the belt and I needed to change the way I looked at things.
Oh yeah.
And figure out my whole life altogether.
Well, like Caitlin Chukagan, I like her a lot. She's a sweetheart.
Super talented.
But she said that like when she won, she had like 100 people texting her. When she lost, it was like 4.
Well, you see who your true people are. That's why, you know, the Fairweather fans thing, it just doesn't work anymore. And that's just like...
It doesn't work for who?
It doesn't work in general in the MMA game. I mean, in any sport or any, you know, celebrities, anything. Fairweather fans, they're always going to exist. But when you're down, when you hit rock bottom, that's when you know who your true people are. That's when you know who your family is. That's when you know. That's how you know who your real friends are.
Right.
And you know, it's unfortunate to find out because you're like, everybody loves me. Everybody loves me. I got 10 million fans. You take one loss, and that guy fucking sucks. He's terrible now. And you're like, you're not getting in there with him. So he took a loss.
No, of course.
That was the biggest thing with Conor losing. Fuck Conor. Khabib's the best. Nate Diaz is the best.
Well, Conor had a lot of people that didn't like him beforehand, and he brought that a lot on himself.
No, but he has a ton of Fairweather friends. When he's winning, they're like, Conor's the greatest thing in the world. And then he loses. Oh, he fucking sucks. He couldn't even.
Well, I feel like those people were waiting, though. Those people were waiting.
But that's the problem.
Yeah.
That's the problem in sports and in general. You know, Super Bowl's on Sunday. You're going to have fans of the Patriots. You're going to have fans of the Rams. Whoever loses that game, which I'm predicting that the Patriots are going to lose because of Drake's sweater, you're going to see people go, oh, the fucking Patriots suck. Tom Brady's a fucking pile of garbage. But it goes both ways. You know, the winners, people, Tom Brady fucking cheated again. That's how it must have happened. And this guy. And that. So it's going to be in every sport. It's just unfortunate that the person that has the spotlight has to find out through a loss who their real people are.
Right. Very deep, CB.
And speaking of major wins...
Let's talk to Henry Corrales right now. Hope he picks up. Hello, Henry. All right. Hello, Henry Corrales. What's up, people? Listen, sexual performance issues, more common than you think. Over 25% of new ED cases are guys under the age of 40. And 40% of men by age 40 struggle from not being able to get and maintain an erection. Even the world's greatest actor can't fake one. Why do guys turn to weird solutions or do nothing? Well, they can turn to medicine and science. I'm telling you, people, okay? Get it together, all right? You don't want to struggle with that thing down there. It's not fun. No bueno. The solution, go to forhims.com. It's a one-stop shop for hair loss, skincare, sexual wellness for men, all right? I'm telling you, you don't want to finally get that girl or guy back to your place, and then it's insulting. They take it personal. Trust me, it's never a fun thing, all right? And Hims connects you with real doctors and medical-grade solutions to treat ED. All right, there's no waiting room, no awkward in-person doctor visits, no lines. Save hours by going to forhims.com. It is so easy. Being your best means performing your best. It's erectile without the dysfunction. It's hard made easy. Say hello to your little friend, all right? You could try Hims for a month today, but for just $5. We'll get you started for just $5 while supplies last. See the website for full details. This would cost hundreds if you went to the doctor or a pharmacy. Go to forhims.com/MMA Roasted. That's FORHIMS.com/MMA Roasted. Forhims.com/MMA Roasted. What's up, people? Robinhood is an investing app that lets you buy and sell stocks, ETFs, options, and cryptos, all commission-free. Okay, they strive to make financial services work for everyone, not just the wealthy. It's a non-intimidating way for stock market newcomers to invest for the first time with true confidence, okay? They got no commission fees. Other brokerages charge up to $10 for every trade. But Robinhood doesn't charge commission fees. They don't keep all of your profits. The design is very easy to use, okay? And you learn by doing. Learn to invest as you build your portfolio. Discover new stocks and track favorites companies with personalized news feeds, okay? Listen, they're giving listeners a free stock like Apple, Ford, or Sprint to help build your portfolio. Sign up at MMARoasted.robinhood.com. That's MMARoasted.robinhood.com. Once again, MMARoasted.robinhood.com. Check them out right now.
What's up, dude?
What's up? You're on the MMA Roasted Podcast. It's me and CB Gold.
What's up, Henry?
How are you, buddy?
What's up, man? Thanks for having me. I'm good. I'm right here at the LFA weigh-ins for my buddy Hunter Azure and David Machad and Kyler Phillips, dude. They're all scrapping tomorrow.
Yeah, I love David.
We're about to weigh in for these guys.
Yeah, David came to my show when I was in town last week. You didn't. Not last time I was in Arizona. Thanks, buddy. I appreciate it. But David was there.
Oh yeah.
So, no, I'm saying you didn't come, but David came.
Where?
To my comedy show. Last time I was in Arizona. I came to the lab. I supported all you guys.
Oh, when was it?
It was like a year ago, but I'll be back and I'll be back. Yeah, all your guys came.
I'll be there next time for sure.
Thank you. Sugar Sean came and Drakkar came and Lauren Murphy came and John Crouch came. So
I'll get all drunk and heckle you.
I appreciate that. Thank you, man. Thank you very much. Congrats on your huge win over Aaron Pico. Did you think you were – because, like, when this fight was announced, I was like, honestly, this is a really tough fight for Pico. I go, this guy, they're putting him in deep. And everyone kept saying, Pico, Pico, Pico. Did you feel like you were being overlooked for this fight?
Yeah, but I think, that's just because of the hype that kid had, I think anybody that was going to scrap him was going to be an underdog. Because, he has some serious amateur credentials, and he was smashing these other guys.
Yeah.
So the hype was real with that guy.
No, the hype was real, but I think
at the same time, I don't get caught up in that shit. You know what I mean? I got 13 out of my 17 wins or finishes. And for a featherweight, that's a high finishing rate. So I know what I'm about. So it doesn't matter what any of these guys say. So I was cool, man. I've been labeled a lot worse than the underdog, so I wasn't even tripping.
The odds against him as the underdog, he was up to like plus 450.
450 underdog?
Plus 450.
Wow.
Some people made some money that night.
Yeah.
Bro, my buddy put $5,000 on me.
Wow. Was your buddy Aaron Pico?
So he came up on some cash, dude.
Wow.
He's gonna take me out to a nice dinner, my buddy Bully.
I had a feeling, but then when he rocked you first, I was like, uh-oh. Now, how hurt were you?
Dude, well, the thing was, you always hear fighters say, like, dude, it's the punches that you don't see that kind of hurt you or phase you or whatever. And that's exactly what happened. Cause I was trying to stick him with the jab, and I blocked my own peripheral, and he shot just a perfectly timed right uppercut right up the pipe, dude. I just did not see it coming at all. I was like, just one of those punches, like, who the fuck hit me? You know what I mean? And but the moment my ass touched the canvas, I was right back, dude. I was right back to normal. And I got up and I chucked a couple heavy hands at him, and I kind of clipped him too. And I circled out to see where my legs were at, and they were good. I circled out once, and I was like, fuck, I'm good. And I just beelined right back to him and got after it.
Yeah, and then I saw him like winging punches, and I'm like, he better keep his hands up. How happy were you when you saw his hand down?
When I what?
When you saw him drop his hands, like, I mean, his hands were so low.
Oh yeah, he was just digging to the body like recklessly, and dude, they were landing. I was feeling them for sure, but I was like, you know what I mean? I was just like, dude, he's going so hard for the body, dude. That head's open, and I just darted one in there, dude.
Oh, it was a thing of beauty. And then, I knew he was in trouble because when Freddie Roach was saying, yeah, he's got a future in boxing, he can spar with Miguel Cotto and go rounds with Cotto, no one could. And I'm like, yeah, but they're overlooking how good like your boxing is. I think Freddie, like 10 years ago, a guy that had really good hands in MMA really stood out. But now it seems like a lot of people have good hands in MMA.
Well, here's the thing, dude. Here's a fact. There's a difference between MMA striking and boxing. It's just a fact. It's just the way it is, dude. And I think I showed it. And I outstruck him. I landed more shots than him. That one uppercut was clean, dude. And, he almost got the job done with that. But, that one shot just didn't do it. And I landed a lot more shots than him.
No, it was. I was really happy for you because I feel like you're a guy. Like you started out, you were 12-0, and then you go into Bellator and you go on like a 0-3 losing streak. You fought Daniel Strauss on 2 weeks' notice. Nobody would have done that. And I felt like you kind of, had to build yourself up. Now you're on a 5-fight winning streak. So.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it, dude.
It was really good to see. Now I was reading up about you. So you got jumped. You were on a skateboard, and 6 guys were like, "What are you looking at?" You're like, "Fuck you!" And then you got stabbed with on a skateboard. Like, what happened there?
It's just some typical Southern California shit, dude. I was just walking. Sun was in my eyes. I was probably making some weird face, and these fucking cholos, gangsters or whatever, they're like, "What are you looking at?" And I was like, "Oh, I was trying to explain myself, like the sun's in my eyes." And then as soon as I said that, like, I was like, "Damn, you sound like a bitch." And I was like, "You know what? Fuck you." And I just like took flight on them. And then one of them had a knife, and then I had to defend myself accordingly with my skateboard. But yeah, the only reason why I even like share those type of stories was to give credit to martial arts for kind of like changing my life and giving me some direction and discipline and stuff, man. Beautiful sport.
Well, did you get stabbed?
What was that?
Did you get stabbed by those guys? Did they stab you?
Yeah.
Where?
In the stomach.
Oh, so, I mean, how long? How long were you in the hospital for?
Oh, I didn't even go to the hospital, dude. I didn't have no insurance or nothing like that. I was just a young pup. I was a teenager, and we just rigged it, dude. Put some duct tape on it, and just went on with our day.
Jesus. And then I heard you. Now, were you in jail in your early 20s?
Yeah, I've been to jail a couple times, dude.
What did you go to jail for?
Just some typical loser knucklehead shit. You know what I mean? Some fights. I got a little DUI when I was a teenager. Vandalism. Nothing too crazy, but just being a knucklehead, man.
How long was your longest stint in jail?
I think like 2.5, 3 weeks maybe.
Oh my God!
The last time I was in jail for like a little warrant, and I took my vacation from work, and then I was in there, and I was like, dude, what am I doing? Like, this is so fucking lame. And so I was like, when I get out, like in my head, I was like, when I get out, I'm gonna be a professional fighter. I'm gonna start fighting. I'm gonna train UFC, and just got out, and I haven't been in trouble since because I started training, man, and I just started living a different lifestyle, and just so grateful for the sport, man. Really, really, you hear fighters say it all the time, and I know what they mean because it really does change your life.
Now, I heard that you, when you started training, you had no martial art background, like, right? Did you wrestle at all in high school or college? No,
nothing, dude.
And then you went right to sparring with zero, and you sparred with pros with actually no background.
Yeah, dude, I would just roll up and just start chucking with all those guys.
I mean, now you don't know how to wrestle. You don't know any submissions. I mean, you don't know anything.
No.
So
I just know how to. I've always known how to throw hands, dude. I've always been fighting my whole life. I've always just been willing to fight, and I really like it. So it was an easy, smooth transition, to be honest with you.
But what about the guy? Now, this is in Orange County?
Yeah, right there in Orange County. It was like a LA boxing place.
Now, I mean, weren't people kind of discouraged that like they were like brown belts or they were Muay Thai masters or wrestling All-Americans, and some guy up the street just starts beating them up?
Yeah, dude, I was really annoying to train with because I just wanted to go to like 100. You know what? I actually played football, so I was able to just tackle some wrestlers. I could kind of hang with them just because I knew how to. Tackle people, so I would just like tackle them all like retarded.
That's hilarious.
First year of training was pretty ridiculous because I wouldn't really work technique and stuff.
No, but weren't you getting like submitted though with like guillotines or arm bars or triangles?
Yeah, then I started, and then you start to get humbled about these pros that are like super good. They're just like running clinics on me, and I'm like, dude, I'm stronger. Like in my head, I'm like, dude, I feel stronger than these guys. I feel tougher, but they're just outclassing me. So then I slowly, you know what I mean, like just humbled enough to just like, all right, I got to fucking learn this shit. And so, yeah.
So you and Rob Emerson must have like crazy stories going back and forth to like your jail days and like getting locked up and being in Orange County and gang members, right?
What did you say? What was that last part?
I would say, I mean, just being psychopaths. You and Rob Emerson must have crazy stories.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you don't like Rob Emerson?
I'm sorry. You got cut off. What was that last part?
Are you friends with Rob Emerson? Because it seemed like you and Rob would have a lot in common.
Oh, dude, Rob's my buddy, dude. We grew up not too far from each other, so yeah, that's the homie for sure.
No, I was saying you guys seem like you have a lot of similar backgrounds. You're both from Orange Counties, got in trouble, being knuckleheads, had no real experience.
Yeah.
I would think that you guys were like, like blood brothers in a lot of ways.
Oh, dude, I told him when I first met him, I was like, oh, you know so-and-so, and we have mutual friends in this band. I was like, we're going to be friends. And he was like, all right.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So how did you end up in Arizona?
So my chick started some doctoral program out here at ASU, and Eddie Chaw was my striking coach back home in Southern California. And then he took off too, and I was like, fuck, dude, my broad's leaving me and my fucking coach. And I was like, I'm fucking out of here. So I left California, and then it worked out because I was like on a little 3-fight losing streak. I took some short notice scraps, and I was due for a change of pace, and it worked out so wonderfully, dude. I've been, I'm 5-0 now since coming out here.
Oh my God! Now, you and Sugar Sean O'Malley hang out. It seemed like you guys would be good friends too.
Oh, the Sugar Show, man. He's awesome. He's a great guy.
Yeah, I like your whole team, man. You guys are so different because it's like a bunch of like it's like potheads, like
cool.
Crazy guys, and then Ben Henderson who's like a God Jesus guy.
Lauren Murphy.
It's crazy. Yeah, Lauren Murphy was a heroin addict at like age 4. It's crazy.
Dude. Everybody there's like a transplant from all over the country.
Yeah.
So it's like, and they're all focused, dude. Like they left home. So, like, nobody's fucking around. Like, once you get to the lab, you sacrifice so much to even be there. Like, you're not playing, dude. You're going to go for it. And if you don't, you're going to get smashed because there's a lot of – everybody's there for a service, you know?
Oh, hell yeah. Now, do you spar with Drakkar?
Yeah. Drakar's one of my main sparring partners. Dude, that fucking guy after the fight, he almost got kicked out of the whole venue, dude, because he ran through the crowd, through barriers, and jumped on the fence.
Oh
like
my
Conor
God!
McGregor style. And he was like, dude, I was just standing there and I looked over and he's like, fuck yeah, like going crazy. I was like, oh shit, what's up, dog?
That's awesome.
Didn't he also run in with? Didn't Brandon Lambert from the Terp House join him on that?
Yeah, he was hanging out with those guys too. They were right there.
I freaking love that guy. He's a good dude.
Drakkar?
Yeah, Drakkar's a good dude.
He remembers me every time I see him. He's super cool dude.
So tell us, so what happened with what's her name at your gym? The girl that with like the fake accent. What's her? The hot Brazilian.
Mackenzie Dern.
Yeah, what happened with Mackenzie Dern?
Oh, I don't even know, dude. I would see her at the gym sometimes, but then I guess some stuff happened.
Oh.
But I didn't know. I didn't know about her.
Oh, So are you married to your chick now? You guys have kids? You guys married? What's the deal?
Do I have kids am I married?
Yeah.
Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Oh no, neither. Yeah. I just got a lady and then been with her for like 6 years.
Well,
she keeps me out of trouble, keeps me focused.
Well, what are you waiting for, man? That sounds like a good girl. You should pop the question.
Well, I'm over here fighting people for money in the cage, and she's finishing up her doctorate, so she gets that in April and May. So once she's done with that, she's in Ann Arbor, Michigan right now.
Oh wow!
I'm actually going to take off. I'm going to take off next week to go visit her for like a week or two.
That's awesome.
Yeah, but that's definitely the plan for sure.
I love it. Now, how's David look? The bulldog.
How's the what?
How's David look? The bulldog, David Michaud.
Oh, the bulldog's ready, dude. He's fucking ready, man. I'm excited for him. He's tough, dude. He's tough as nails, and he brings the heat, man. You've seen him fight.
Yeah, I love that guy.
He ain't scared of a little confrontation in the fucking ring. So, man, I'm really pumped up for this one, and this other guy's pretty good too. So
yeah,
Christian Aguilera is one of the biggest.
And it's the main event, so it's like
I love that. I like his girlfriend too. Horses, her many horses. Yeah, she's a badass. She's cool. They're good people. So what was your question you had for him?
Oh, Henry, so I wanted to ask, because I know you mentioned in your post-fight interview you'd love to get that title shot. I'm hearing that Pitbull may go up to 55 to fight Chandler. And if that happens, would you be interested in a fight with AJ McKee in a title eliminator, or would you want to wait for Pitbull?
Dude, I'll fight any of these guys.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter, dude.
Yeah, that'd be a great fight. That's the one thing about Bellator. I feel like they're kind of giving AJ some soft. Like they put you up against everybody, and then other guys they just kind of like MVP or AJ McKee. They give them guys that are like, come on, like let's see him against a real challenging opponent. That's
when I got signed with Bellator, like I was like 12-0, 10 finishes, and I was like, dude, don't even fucking bother signing me if you're not gonna let me fight like the toughest guys you got, you know what I mean? Because you can only fight for so many years, and like, I don't know, like I wouldn't be able to look in the mirror and just like I didn't fight the toughest guys. Like I want to fight all the savages, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, yeah, like I fought Strauss, and then on short notice kind of, and Sanchez, and then Pitbull on 12 days notice. So, dude, it's all good. Sign me up, dude. I'm here to fight.
I love it. Well, listen, Henry Corrales, you're a badass. I was so proud of you, man. I was so happy for you. Can't wait to see you back in the cage. And thank you for coming on the podcast.
Hell yeah. Thanks for having me, guys. I'll see you guys around, dude.
Anytime. Take care.
Later.
All right. That was Henry Corrales.
Okay, Corrales.
Yeah, someone was like, he lost to a guy whose nickname was okay. I'm like, all right, that doesn't...
Because it's a fucking Wild West joke.
I know. People are so stupid.
Oh, man.
Corrales is a badass.
My brain hurts.
I didn't realize he wasn't at the lab before his winning streak.
No, and that's one of the... If in every post-fight interview that he's won in since joining, he says, I went on that streak, and then I found the lab, and it completely changed my entire game plan, and like... Between Eddie Cha and John Crouch, and Benson's a coach out there too now, and they've got a huge team. We were even saying it. You got Lauren Murphy, Efren Escudero, Sean O'Malley. They had Mackenzie Dern,
Drakkar Close.
Yeah, Drakkar Close. There's so many guys out of that camp has expanded.
Rob Everson.
Yeah, Rob floats around too though. Rob helps Cyborg a lot.
Johnny Case was there when I was there.
Yeah, Johnny Case has been there. The camp, it was originally just the lab, Ben Henderson.
Yeah.
And that was it. It was like Ben, Efren Escudero, that was it. They've gotten so many guys, they've gotten so many girls since then, and like they're a hell of a camp.
No, they invited me to watch live sparring.
Yeah, I remember you went over there.
And I watched Ben Henderson work at a rate that I was like, oh my God. Like they just kept, it was like he was getting sharked. And he was murdering everybody and murdering like guys that I've seen fight before and like taking it to him. And then I was like, wow, how good is Michael Chandler? Because you see the guys that he lost to and you're like, holy shit.
Yeah.
But anyway, so what do you got coming up, CB?
Not a whole lot, man. I'm getting married in 86 days.
Nice. CB.
So I'm still planning the wedding, doing that whole thing. Tattoo shop, Graffiti Palace Tattoo, 4427 Lancashire Boulevard, North Hollywood, California. Mention MMA Roasted to get 10% off your tattoo. Consultations are free. Shop minimum is only $60 in comparison to shops around the corner from us that are $150. But yeah, just spending a lot of time with my family, trying to keep my mom sane after we took a loss. And that's pretty much it, man. I play a lot of NBA 2K on PS4. If you want to play NBA 2K with me, CB the Grenade on PS4. Hit me up on Twitter. Hit me up on PS4. I'll play anybody in a friendly. I just I feel bad for you if you try. Guys, and you go to AdamHunter.com. I'll be tomorrow night with Jeremy Piven at Treasure Island Casino. Nice. Friday night. Sunday night I'm at the Laugh Factory in Long Beach, California. Dime every Tuesday night. I'm all over. And watch this dude's videos on Twitter and Facebook and shit because follow me. Adam's crowd work's amazing, and you need to see one of the best, most hardworking comedians in the world perform his craft. better than all y'all. So you need to watch those videos.
Thank you, CBs. Follow me at Adam Comedian. If you shop on Amazon, go to adamhunter.com first. Click on the Amazon banner, then order whatever you want because I make money on that. Thank you so much. From me, Violet, CB. Thank you, everybody. Take care. Bye.
Thanks, guys.